And we are now live, the January 9th Small Business Accounting Advisors. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome from cloudy Southern California.
And cloudy Northern California.
And we are cold Pennsylvania, although I think some people are colder.
Yes. Oh, it's real cold back there, isn't it?
We just got over a wicked cold spell where the wind chill was minus 22. I have never, ever experienced that here in Pennsylvania.
Well, hopefully you never will again.
That's exactly how I feel, but there's a whole lot of winter left.
Yeah, but hopefully you won't keep getting those polar vortexes.
Yeah. Dennis is here.
I see that. Maybe we can get those little scratchy noises again like we did yesterday.
Oh, I like the Mickey Mouse. Only because it happens to me, too.
Oh. Well.
Am I sound like Mickey Mouse?
Pardon me?
No, you're doing fine.
You're doing good, Dennis. You sound good.
Yes.
Although I do have my Mickey Mouse
sweater.
That is so awesome. I love it.
Good, good.
So I had another pro advisor ask me, does anybody know anything about Demand Force? Does anybody use it? Know anything about it?
Is that the one affiliated with Intuit as far as marketing or something?
It is. Intuit did buy it, and I believe it's a lead program.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think someone that in my another accounting group is using it, but I don't know how successful it's been.
Okay.
Looks like it's marketing.
So nobody's here had any experience with it to say one way or the other?
No.
No. And Intuit has actually purchased that, like I thought, last year.
Yeah, it said, I'm looking at the website and it says Intuit, you know, that INT with the little dot, Demand Force. Yeah, that's so it's evidently, and it, yeah, the website looks like the QuickBooks website, and it's the same design.
But they're not really pushing it. Intuit's not really pushing it.
No, they don't seem to be.
How interesting. So everybody's quiet today. We're busy working.
No, Friday's my shopping day. I always go on my Friday scavenger hunt at Costco trying to find stuff, and so it's always a treat.
Friday is my day that I do my stuff. And one of my stuff is hang out with my friends at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's great.
I was reading the NAN bulletin board. They're talking about the QBO Advanced exam.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It wasn't very flattering, at least back in December. I don't know if they were saying it was about impossible to pass.
Well, they said that about the other one too.
Well, these are people that are, long. If you've heard of Ruth Perryman,
Yes.
He had a real negative comment about it. So I don't know if I'm going to even waste my time, at least until after tax season.
I probably wouldn't. They're talking about maybe changing it, Dennis, too.
So
and did anybody read Charlie's article?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw.
He mentions that about the exam as well.
Yeah.
Something towards that.
It's really hard to do an advanced exam that you can computer score. I mean, because so much of the advanced is judgment and, interpretation and trying to, fit that into a computer answer that you can, score is difficult.
The advanced desktop, if you basically have to read it and follow the directions to the T. you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dot the I. They tell you exactly the interpretation they want on it, and you don't want to get cute and clever, or you'll fail it because
I know that
something
when I took it, there was one question. The only place it was answered was like about the end of one webinar. It was like a payroll question, and that was the only place they discussed it. It was not discussed in the notes.
Oh, wow.
So he had to watch the whole freaking webinar just for 30 seconds of information. It was like,
Right.
But once you pass that, you're in that elite group.
It was when I took it was a real pain because they kept changing it. The first time they just gave you a score. They didn't tell you what you got wrong or anything, and then people complained about that, so they broke into like 4 or 5 different sections, and you get like 1 out of 4 or 3 out of 4, and then you end up second guessing yourself which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong.
Right. Change it, and all of a sudden you're keeping the same score you had before.
And then finally, they just basically told you which ones you got wrong, and after they did that, then I passed it right away. But it was I spent a good 40 hours on that stupid thing,
Right.
It was a pain in the ass.
Well, I do plan on doing it. I just want to wait until after my account gets switched over to the new profile because I have lots of issues that I need to call support about. I will probably be on the phone with support for a day to get rid. Yeah.
I have a question. Yvette, did you take the advanced test and pass it? We went through.
Not the advanced. I haven't had a chance.
I haven't either.
To be honest with you, I'm a little scared of it, but I've been.
Is that the desktop?
Yeah, the desktop and the online. I want to do both.
What I did on the desktop is I used Snagit and just took screenshots, and so each time I took the exam, at least I'd have a record of which ones I'd answered, and so I was hoping I could try to narrow down. When I got like 3 out of 4 or something like that, then I could kind of try to narrow which ones I think I got wrong.
What I have, this is what I did because I'm not supposed to let anybody see this, but I made copies of every question.
Yep, exactly what I did.
My little
Yvette actually sent those to me, and then one of the things I did was I did an Excel spreadsheet that showed every question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then which category it fell in. Remember whether it was trouble,
right.
And then I sorted, and I have that so you can track how you're doing with them. But the thing is, you can't. When you take the test one time and go, if you close it, then that's it. That counts as one at a time. So you have to be. That's the thing that's tricky about that, is that you have to kind of find a way to get all the answers correct, and then do them all at once to pass the test.
Do they still do that, or do they do it by sections now?
It's been like 5 years since I took it. I mean, I was doing Excel spreadsheets there was one WIP question where I was doing an Excel spreadsheet to figure something out. And then there was one question in particular. I had the answer right, but I just was answering it wrong. It was such a picayune thing that
it was. They're very picayune.
Yeah, you've got to really follow the direction.
That's what I mean. It's really hard to get an advanced exam that you can computer score because you have to make it so precise, and a lot of times that's really not on an advanced, like when I took the CPA exam, it took like 3 months to get it graded because they would, there were, work paper problems. You'd turn in your worksheets and you get partial credit on some of the answers.
Right.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, Joanne.
Hey, Sarah.
You look so pretty, Sarah. I like that color on you.
Thanks. My phone sort of blew up there for a while this afternoon.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Good calls or not good calls?
Sarah, you look like you were meeting with auditors.
Do I?
You look like you were meeting with auditors, so you had to, dazzle them with your beautiful smile.
Yeah, the jewelry, too.
And the jewelry. It looks heavy.
but it's made out of clay and it's like real light.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
I
That's
don't
nice.
really like food. I don't like stuff on me, but I thought this was cool. But no, I wish I had been at a board meeting this afternoon. And
Instead of answering the-
the treasurer didn't show up.
Oh, wow.
We had
Not good.
not good. So they were looking at some reports and happened to mention that one of the gals was getting overtime, and they're like, nobody should be on overtime. You know, of course, there's nobody there to you know.
answer any questions like why is it happening?
And that person who's making what, $15 an hour?
Oh my goodness.
It's like, no, they're management, you know. So, you know, so of course, two of the people are waiting for the board meeting to be over for the director to come out and say whether they approved raises or not. So, when somebody gets a $1,000 raise, and that's what, 48 cents. Anyway, so you know, one of the girls is going to walk. It's going to cost a fortune. So anyway, I got to do damage control.
Yeah,
And see, I'm in the middle. I'm like,
that's right.
you know, I speak all the languages, and
Translate in between them.
yeah, but this client's been a client for so long, and I've trained everybody down there, and so I'm the one they call. You know, it's like, Sarah.
Right.
You know, so I don't do just accounting. I'm more of the executive director's right hand gal, except that, you know, I'm not invited to board meetings.
That's okay.
my
Maybe you're
ally-
lucky.
My ally isn't there. So
Yes.
all the things that we had decided we weren't going to do because they're, you know. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to go there.
Yeah, no.
That
Well,
was a fun Friday
either
afternoon.
way, you look pretty and all of that good
Hi,
stuff.
Dwayne. Dwayne's with us today.
Hi, Doreen.
Hi everyone, how's everyone doing?
Very well.
Friday.
It's Friday.
Doesn't mean anything in January, that does it.
No, absolutely not.
How are things going with you, Dwayne? You getting busy?
Yeah, it's getting busy and running around, meeting with people and trying to get things put together so they'll run relatively smoothly. It's been an interesting week. It's been a lot busier than it was last year.
Oh, that's good.
Could be
Well,
good.
that means more business, not less chasing after people.
That's true.
I know I had a client call Monday and said, my date is ready, where's your engagement letter? And I'm like,
Yeah.
just, usually I have
Wow.
by now, but
I
I've been
had a client do that with me last week.
I'm like, let me finish my regular work and I'll start all this other stuff on Monday.
Can't file returns until the 20th anyway.
That's
Well,
true.
technically,
What's the 20th? What's the 20th?
When you
the
can
first day that supposedly it's not the first day you can e-file. It's the first day the IRS will
Apply.
inspect them.
issuing refunds.
Oh.
But
That's not affecting us, unless you're doing taxes.
but you can have a different date that I can start actually submitting live tax returns for processing.
But don't they hold them until the 20th and then start processing them
If
then?
there's no refund, they don't know.
Oh, okay,
You know
got
what I
it.
mean? Like if it's a zero balance or if it's a
Where they owe
tax
money,
owed, yeah, they'll still process it and it'll go through.
and they want their money as soon as possible. They won't wait until the 20th for that.
Yeah, I know. I've already had a client come over. I already have all their paperwork. Just waiting on the W-2s and the 1099s.
Wow.
And then I have two other clients that dropped their some paperwork off in September and October.
Nice. Now, do
Yeah,
those
they've been
clients have
tracking everything to that point.
folders that they collect throughout the year? Do you
Yeah.
give your clients a folder so that they can throw their stuff in?
Yep, I have a nice box. I gave a few clients this beautiful box, and it has my little logo on the front. Well, the
Nice.
old logo.
It's a shoebox.
It's not a shoebox.
I love that. It's a modern shoebox.
Yeah, it's like you know those the containers you get at the store.
Yeah.
You can fit shoes in them, but they're like a couple cents. Like you know, you buy them in
They got
bulk.
them at the dollar store. They got them at the dollar store. I got tons of them, and I put my shoes in.
Yeah, so and the thing is that they use them. Like I have a few clients that do, and they drop their receipts in there, and we're good to go. I'd rather have them do that than have, you know, craziness all over the place.
Good for you, Misha. You know what? That's probably cheaper than some people spend for their pre-printed folders too.
Yeah.
Yep. Because the box itself, I mean, I picked them up at Target, and they were less. I think they were like 50 cents or something like that a box.
Oh, you did better. Yeah, because the dollar store was like 2 for $1.
Yeah. So I was like, this is a good idea.
Sure is.
They they keep them all year. So I get this, I empty it, give it back to them, and they just start throwing the receipts right in.
Perfect.
So those are my non-tech people that I do that with. My other people will actually scan their stuff and shoot. You know, they're in Dropbox or Box.com. I'm not using Dropbox anymore. Dropbox is a little bit sketchy lately,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna try to do something else. But Box.com, they upload all their PDFs, and boom, I'm good to go.
Nice, nice. Do you use your Qbox in that way at all?
Not yet. Qbox is new this year, and I didn't want to spring it on folks because I find a lot of folks have Macs.
I know, that's my problem.
Right.
So my train, hold on.
Yeah, I gotta hear your train.
Okay, what'd you say about did you say Macs?
Yeah, Macintoshes.
Yeah, so what, in the
But you're
Qbox?
running
Qbox.
But you're running.
Yeah, you had a problem with that.
I mean, I have a Mac and I have Qbox, but I will tell you, last week, okay, I had my client on hosted environment. His file got so contaminated, it was pretty bad, and he was furious. I mean, he was very upset about it because it was also slowing him down with work because he does all his invoicing, and so anyways. I said, okay, let's do Qbox. You know, so I get him on Qbox. He's got a Mac, I got a Mac. Well, when it came to setting him up, there were some issues. I don't remember having those issues with my computer, but they have to do something different with the Mac.
Oh.
And my client has a lot of security on his network, too. And I guess his IT tech guy didn't recommend it. Long story short, he said, you know what, I just want to go back to the old way where you would log in.
Oh.
Now we're back to that.
You have to run parallel, and I don't think anything other than
He's got Parallels, and I got it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the issue was, but we spent a couple hours on the phone with Qbox.
Wow, I remember that. We have Deborah here, the traveling advisor.
Hi, Deborah.
Hello,
Hey,
how
Deborah.
are you? I
Hey,
finally figured
Deborah.
out. I tried to get these Google Hangouts, but I can get into yours real good, Gene. I can't figure out how to get into sets.
I invite a little bit differently. I invite everyone personally as well as inviting through my circles. Seth only does it through his circles, and I think the notifications come differently.
Uh-huh.
And you have to go look for his Hangout, where mine go directly to your phone and ring your phone and say, hey,
I know, I love it.
Phone, iPad, everything starts ringing.
I know. It goes.
Yeah, I had to run in here because, boy, my office was ringing, boy. The computer, the phone, the pad.
I know. I always feel popular at 5:30 on a Friday afternoon.
I know. They miss me. They want me.
I know. The funny thing, last week, when I was at the doctor's office, it started going off, and I was on the table. I was on the table. And I couldn't get to it to shut it off. I got a meeting. It's like, the doctors.
I had to do funny. Don't feel bad.
So I try now when I go into my appointments, I either mute my phone or something.
Especially when it's
You're
supposed to
looking
be
for
that
it,
time.
Nisha.
I
Everybody
know, right?
knows that.
Yeah. Oh, come on. How important am I going to look in stirrups and trying to answer your call? Come on now.
Hey, that's real multitasking.
Well, I think I was on my last surgery. I was on ABBO, and of course, I'm typing in Facebook and everything, and because I was in line, and then they came in and gave me some sort of thing to relax me, and so I think it was like mid-sentence. I went, uh-oh. My husband's like, here, give me that. And then he was afraid that some hangout was going to, it was on a Friday morning. He thought I was going to ha!
From the hospital room, ready to be wheeled in.
Wheel me into surgery. They're like doing the IVs and everything. I'm playing on that.
Yeah, there should be a rule, like, when you are in the room. Like, I don't mind in the waiting room, you do it and everything, but like when you're in the room, you gotta like remember to shut the phone off or put it on vibrate or something.
Dwayne, you're having problems hearing us? We need to have you go out and then come back in.
We'll let you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, ooh, we're packed. Do it quick.
Okay. All these technical issues with Hangouts, I'll
You know
tell you.
what? I had a hangout with, I'm trying to do like a monthly management meeting with a client, and I got them all turned on to this hangout thing, and then the one lady that did not want to do it, I finally got her on board, and this one had video, this one had, all kinds of problems. We finally got settled down. We had about a 20-minute meeting, and the echoes started. It's doing it now. For what reason?
You never tell.
Out of the blue.
It's the stream. It's the Wi-Fi. If you're on Wi-Fi or if you're hardwired, it's just the streaming.
Well, she won't do it again. So now what do I do?
Yeah.
Somebody else on Facebook mentioned something else. I think it was Steve, maybe.
A different, like Join.me or?
Yeah, it was one I hadn't heard of before. Well, you know what? I just went into Facebook. Do you think that just killed my bandwidth, and that's why I'm...
That might be.
Yeah.
I
Sarah, have her come over to your house and be on the hangout sitting next to you.
I think you can.
From D.C., from Washington, D.C. Yeah, we're going to...
Yeah, no, that won't work. How about go to meeting?
Here, let me get out of this.
Yeah. Dennis, what did you say?
I said Skype. I think you can have like 10 people on.
Okay.
I thought you had to pay for the Skype business multi-group one. You have to pay for it.
I thought they had changed that and had increased the number.
Yeah, because we did it at Thanksgiving, and I don't know if any of us had a special thing. We had at least 10 on. All right.
On Skype?
Yeah. Did the echo stop after I got out of Facebook?
Yes.
There's no echo.
It might have been your bandwidth, Sarah. I think that has a lot to do with it. What your internet strength is.
Let's doing it again. I didn't do anything.
But I can hear you fine. You don't sound like you're echoing. Nobody sounds like they're echoing. Am I echoing?
No.
No, you're not.
Yeah, nobody's echoing like it was before.
Not this second.
There's
me? Am I echoing?
No.
No.
I'm just saying the echoes come from having two windows open at the same time.
Or if your phone is near if your cell phone is near your computer.
Yeah, but they're not on. Oh, wait a minute. Misha and Gina's little green thing went up and down at the same time when Gina was talking.
Which
I
is
have Yvette. Yvette is muted.
No, Misha.
So that means it's not Yvette. It's not anybody that's muted.
I'll mute and you'll see what I mean. Like I'm.
Now I can't.
We waste more time screwing with these microphones.
We lost Dwayne. I hope he comes back.
Yeah, come back.
Yeah, he couldn't hear us. He was on. He was doing fine, and then I guess he got kicked off. And when he came back on,
I will try to text him real quick and tell him to get back on.
Okay. I have a payroll question.
Oh, I love payroll.
Oh, good. I don't generally do payroll in QuickBooks. I make my clients do an outside service, either ADP or Paychex or something like that. But I do have people that do.
Oh, there you are, Dwayne.
You're back, Dwayne. Hey.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. You can hear us now. Things are better.
Yeah, a lot better.
Good.
I was thinking of doing a payroll with QuickBooks, so go ahead, Gina. I'm listening.
But you're having to deal with clients who do their own payroll, so you need to be able to support them.
I need to answer questions, and they just upgraded to QuickBooks 2015 with payroll, and they have people that they're paying, and they want to take out the federal taxes using the percentage method.
No, that went out 15, 20 years ago. Not an option.
That's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
Followed it before.
Yeah, you know, first she said, I don't want any federal taxes taken. Well, that's easy. Put your allowances up to 12.
No, you can write down don't withhold.
I can do exempt.
You can do don't withhold.
No, you can't, guys.
I don't know where
No,
exactly.
you can't. If we're practitioners, you need to tell them what the law is.
Yeah,
I do
On the
tell 'em.
side, you can say, hey, you know, put more, more exemptions. But you know, if you're advising them to put in 10 kids when they don't,
right.
Wow.
you'll be personally liable for that. So, no, that's called an invalid W-9 if you have knowledge that it isn't true.
And then on the flip side of that, to
Yeah.
follow up with Sarah, what ends up happening is not enough withholdings are taken out.
Yeah.
Then they've underpaid. Now they have an underpayment penalty when they file their tax return.
And they can come back to you and say, let me see their W-4, and did you follow their W-4?
Well, apparently that is not the case in this situation. They've been doing this for years.
They haven't been caught in you.
They just haven't been caught.
Well, what they originally did, and the reason they used, well, they just used QuickBooks. They originally, like back in, I'll say 2000, had payroll, but then when they upgraded, they let their payroll expire, so they still had payroll turned on in their QuickBooks. They were able to do the payroll, but it didn't
By
have
hand.
taxes, so it didn't bring any taxes in, and she would actually, once the check came up, manually hand put the taxes in at that point.
So it
without
let her
using-
do it wrong.
No, you can do it manually. You can. I have clients.
No,
I
no,
have
no. I'm
people-
talking about she's deciding not to take out taxes.
Well, that I tell them. I mean, if I can't stop them from doing that, and I tell them that's not the law. Either you pay them in SAR or you pay the federal government, but you have to follow the W-4.
Right. You have
And
to follow the
You can't just
W-4.
say, you know, oh, I don't feel like withholding on these people. If they do it anyway, against my advice, I'm
Right.
not going to call the
No,
IRS.
no,
on
you're
it.
right. You're right. But that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't advise them to.
No.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to advise them for anything. Even if they want to be exempt, hey, go ahead and do whatever.
Well, read it.
No,
read
exempt,
the.
I mean,
The W-4, if that's what the W-4 says, hey, last year I got a refund, so I don't want to pay taxes
well,
now.
they're not. Well, they think when they file exempt, that means they're also exempt from FICA Medicare, which I say no.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Well, apparently, whoever it is that's getting this W-2 also has their own business. So they only want a certain amount taken out on their W-2.
Well, that's
and
their
they
problem.
end up putting in, you know, estimated taxes per their business.
But Gina, the other piece to the underpayment penalty, if you know, for that year and you underpaid your federal taxes, it's gonna prompt and say, okay, this person, you know, this formula, they've been underpaid by X amount. They need to now make estimated payments, because if this is going to continue to happen, they have.
We're
to
not the
pay.
employee's tax advisor. If they
Right. And
but
the employer shouldn't be telling them either.
right.
She
But
said,
I had a
you
guy.
need to
he
go to
was
your
the
own tax
CFO of
person.
I had a
Right.
guy, CFO of a company, kind of your same situation. He had, taxes withheld from his wife's pay or whatever,
Yeah.
He wrote down he had 25 exemptions, and I looked at it and go, you have 25
Wow.
kids? He goes, I don't need anything withheld. Okay.
25 is obviously fraud.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not fraudulent because he
No,
just
yes,
had less
it is. Yes,
withheld.
it is, because there's no such thing as 25. So
Well, he had nothing
And
withheld.
when they file their taxes, they are taking the correct amount out. There is no underpayment or no underpayment.
Right. I'm following what he says. Said, you know, that's fine. So
as
I
long
mean,
as you protect yourself as a practitioner, you're going to be
I didn't tell him
okay.
to put 25 down. I told, you know, that's what his choice was.
Yeah.
I always tell him, you might be under withheld. Don't come back to me later and say you didn't withhold enough. I'm telling you now.
The W-4 protects the employer,
Right.
and then in the old days we had to mail them into the IRS, and the IRS.
Well, in the old days, if it was over 10, you had to send them in. Now
Right.
they did away with that.
Well, now what they do is they wait and see if they have a problem. Then they'll come back and they'll tell you what taxes to take out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's if
And
they
then how
don't
do you
pay
do
in.
that then, too. I mean, not the standard whatever QuickBooks uses.
You can withhold is if the, like, I have a guy, he always wants a certain amount. He has the amount that's withheld according to the tables,
Right.
and he goes, whatever that is, add $50. Okay.
Yeah. That's easy.
That's
And he
easy
wants
to
it to
do
be
in
so his
QuickBooks.
paycheck is always in round dollars. So
I do
when
that for myself.
You know, when I do his payroll, I look to see, and it's off by a couple of cents. I change the federal tax to match, so it's.
I
even
don't
number.
change federal because I like federal to be a whole number. I always change the state.
Well, if you do QBO, that's as a percentage. You know, so QBO will not match payroll.
QBO won't do a whole number for Fed?
No, they do a percentage. So if you're trying to, QuickBook Desktop does whole numbers. Online payroll does pennies.
Well, I like whole numbers because if I see pennies in that item code, somebody's been playing around.
Right, and I know Peachtree does percentages too.
Yeah, lot of systems do. Oh, shoot, I just messed up my nail.
Yeah, actually, QuickBooks Desktop is the only one I've known that does actual whole dollars.
Well, you know when you're doing the tables and all that, they're always whole. You know, the old look 'em up.
Yeah.
Married. God,
Well, you know,
those
we
are the
don't.
days, aren't they?
The thing is that the logic is we don't pay tax in pennies. It's always in dollars.
Yeah.
You penny eliminate, so
Right.
they, you know. But anyway, what was your question, Gina?
It's always answered. It can't be done.
The software's not going to let you do that.
Right.
No, she'd have to go in what she need. You know, just like those. I said, look, make it easy on yourself. Whatever it is, it is. I mean, you know.
Why are they fighting it?
Why? Yeah. Why are you fighting it? I mean,
That's a lot of
you know,
energy for what?
for no change at all, because you either pay the employee or you pay the federal government. It's no different.
It has nothing to do with the employer.
Well,
Right.
it was actually the employee that wanted it that way.
We'll say sorry, no can do.
Well, of course the employees want it that way.
Well, I've had CPAs. I've had usually, you know, need to retire CPAs. You know, so yeah, just tell your girl to take it out 20%. You know what? I was listening to the Hangout this morning. Oh my gosh, I'm so old school. I kept saying secretary, and I kept saying.
Was that Seth Hangout at 11? I could not. Was that on today, Sarah? At 11 o'clock?
He was sick, so he just went, I cancel. So
Okay.
I was all ready to go with my demo thing, and so was another lady with Asana, and then Dennis wanted to do something, and so you know, I was like, I don't know how to do it and record it. So Gina,
Okay, 'cause I was on there at 11. I was looking at 11 o'clock. I'm looking all around, going, where is this thing?
we put it on Facebook and we put it on
I got a couple invitations from Joanne.
yeah.
Well, I actually went and looked in the events. I always go to the events. If I'm trying to find a Hangout, I go to the events tab.
She named it ABBO, right?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
she
how did you find out, Gina? Did she call you or something? Because I said I don't know how to do it. Somebody
not
needs to
at
call
all.
Gina.
Like I said, I go to the events.
Oh, you just
I got an invitation from Joanne this morning.
Well, let me tell you something, Sarah. I got an email that said Google Plus,
yeah.
and it had Sarah Ladlaw, and it had something wonderful from Google Plus, and when I clicked it, I got the Hangout.
Sarah, would you put me on that list? Because I'm not getting those emails. And I spent an hour trying to find a freaking
No,
Hangout.
that was after the fact. Gina put it, or somebody put it on
On the event page.
On what?
You take the URL of the Hangout, copy it, and post it on the event page.
I did that, and I said, a wonderful hangout, da, 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 da. And so if you're in my circles, you'll get it. You're in my circles.
If you've been invited, you will get it.
Yeah.
And if you were in the circles, you probably were invited that way. Seth does invite via his circles.
Yeah.
I did get an invitation from Joanne this morning. I was in here, but God only knows why.
I'm sorry.
They kicked you out.
Yeah, she may not have the same circles that Seth does.
Do you know that I have a Seth circle? I have a Seth circle with 5 things in it.
Wow.
Hey, and speaking of Seth, does anybody know how he's feeling?
He didn't. I don't think he's answered at all. I mean, he's like,
wow, this is big time for Seth. I'm so sorry.
He must really be hurting. I hear that's some painful stuff.
I know somebody that suffers from it.
Oh.
All of a sudden it's black. I only see myself. What happened to everybody?
Hey, we're still here.
I'm here.
I only see my face in the little corner.
Really?
Yeah.
You're still there. I can see you.
I can see you.
Are you on a poor internet connection where you're at?
No, I'm in my house. I mean.
Are you on a tablet?
Yeah.
That's why.
Oh.
You think it's a tablet?
I'm using it. I'm in my tablet. See, I can walk all around. You can see.
Yeah. You're making me dizzy. Cut that out.
I'm sitting on my couch. I'm not in my office for a change.
So anyway,
we have less control.
You see Penny's. You see Penny's sweater? Isn't that cute?
I did.
So did you get your question answered?
Yeah.
Okay.
The answer is no. No, Sarah, that was a hell to the no.
That was a hell to the no. Well, I wrote a payroll program for a longshoreman, ILA.
Ooh.
Yeah, how I got roped into that, I don't know. But anyway, I used to fly back and forth to, well, this was the ex-husband who said, ask my wife, she can do anything. I flew back and forth to Oregon programming. Anyway, that's like somebody handing you Excel and say, here, write an ILA payroll. Long story longer, where was I going? Oh, I started driving back and forth to Atlanta to get my certified payroll, to become a certified something. That was some complicated stuff. And anyway, I actually
I have a
finished,
question. I know you guys know the answer. I know Sarah, you will. I got a call today from a client client that I had 2 years ago, and she gets a stipend to help reimburse for her health insurance, and I said that's now taxable.
Right.
So she has to add it to what? She has to just mark it as taxable, or she has
she's already got her W-2? Is she the employer or the employee?
She's the employee.
And her boss screwed it up?
Yeah.
And the W-2s are already out?
Pardon?
And the W-2s are already out?
I don't know, but she asked me if it's taxable. I said, yes, it's taxable. When did that start? January of last year? Of when?
2014.
Okay, so all year long, she should have been paying tax on this health insurance reimbursement.
And
what if she said, I thought to myself, that's what I told her. After I hung up the phone, I said, well, gee, what if she just called it car reimbursement, just changed the name?
Well, where is it on? What's going to happen is if her employer is either, and it's too late now. Taxes are, well, if let's say get it. Let's see. No, it's too late to get a tax deposit in on time unless they're really small. But what a lot of companies are doing is reclassing all the reimbursements up to AR employee and then running it through payroll in 2015.
Okay.
If they find out about it, and some of them won't find out about it until they go in to get their corporate return done in February and March, and or they're on extension. It could be next October before the tax accountant goes, hey, guess what? You weren't allowed to do that.
I mean, this ACA thing is very confusing to everybody.
Everybody.
We knew this. We have been talking about this all year long.
Yep.
We started last January and February. We had Bruce a couple times entertaining us with his.
But I didn't really get any solid answers until May.
Do you see where the house?
Well, so if they reimburse for payroll, they have to. It's taxable to them, right?
Right. So they're not going to be able to deduct it. They're going to have to take it off the P&L and put it on their balance sheet somehow. It's taxable wages of the employee. So now the employee owes. They don't owe the money back because the employer said, I'll pay for your health insurance, but they owe the taxes on it.
Right.
So the movement from AR employee into gross wages will create taxes, but where you get the taxes because they got net. Some employees or some employers, depending on who it is and what it is, they're ignoring the 25%.
Federal tax.
Bonus, tax, and they may gross it up for Fed. You know, if it's a really high-paid, we shouldn't be saying this on there. If it's a really high-paid employee and they understand what's going on, say, look, we paid $10,000 worth of your insurance last year. It's going on your W-2. You know, can you absorb the taxes on $10,000? You know. So some of them are bumping it up for FICA, paying their FICA, grossing it up, going ahead and taking out federal and state, keeping that an AR employee, and then pulling it in. They owe it. The employee owes it. But there's some mad employees and mad owners.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and they're all going after the accountants because it's like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
Well, I want to say this about
America. In America.
The IRS is imploding. They're downsizing, not enough agents to do whatever.
Well, that's why this $100 a person a day penalty. Come on, let's be realistic. That's a threat to control the population.
It is.
They didn't know about it in the first place. You think those IRS agents are going to come in and you know, maybe if it's you know, Hardee's. But they're not going to come after these little employers as long as they make it right.
You know, doesn't pay.
You know, now that I can't say that to a, you know, I can say this is the way the law is on the books right now.
Right.
Sarah Laidlaw, as your friend, might say, you know, just make it right. It'll be in the wrong period. I'm so sorry it happened, but you know, hope you didn't vote for Obama.
You see where the House has passed a law upping it to 40 hours instead of 30 hours?
Oh!
For full time?
For full time. It's coming on the books. Well, they've been talking about doing that anyway.
Yeah, it's going to the Senate, and it'll be interesting if Obama vetoes it, because the argument was that they wanted to do 40 because they're afraid if it was 30, employers will start making people part-time or...
Yeah, but it's full-time equivalent, so you could have, you know, 220 220s equals 140.
Yeah.
And it, you know, so it's full-time equivalent, so you have to do the math.
So that's just kind of winding its way through the new Congress, so it'll be interesting to see how that sorts out.
You see that new law coming in? They're now going to, some bill, they're going to, for the registered tax preparers to weed out all the bad guys, and I'm thinking, all the bad guys just don't sign their returns.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, not the prepared. PTINs.
That guy on the corner?
Yeah.
They are paid preparers that go out and buy TurboTax.
They buy
And-
TurboTax
I didn't
and
say
they
that, I'm
pay out
sorry.
self-prepared on the bottom, or
Yeah.
they leave
And it
that
says
on.
self-prepared, and that, you know, if
That's
something
right.
happens, the taxpayer is on the hook for the mistake.
I've got a good one. I had an employee has worked for one of my clients. Oh gosh, 25 years. You know, I mean, hourly, overtime. You know, got a nice little refund. It's been like that for 100 years. And it didn't occur to him when his uncle did his tax return. Everybody was going to the uncle because they were all getting $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 in refunds.
Oh, wow.
So when the garnishment showed up, I'm like, what happened to his W-4? You know? So, I mean, the owner was so upset because this guy's upset and the IRS is at her. So, of course, I drive over there because it's a really good client. And I'm like, I said, well, what happened? I mean, you've made the same, you know, you've been getting raises, but your taxes should have been fine. Did something happen with your, you know, no, my uncle did. I don't know.
I love it. I love it.
I just went, well, when it was too good to be true. And I said, you know what? When you got your refund and you weren't allowed to get your refund, now they want their money back. So, sorry this happened, but, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, taxpayers aren't that smart. I swear. They come up with the craziest notions. We had a realtor in here yesterday who said, I want to do some 1031s exchanges for commercial property to residential property.
Oh, yeah.
We said, can't be done. You know, and he said, oh, yes, I'm going to do that. He goes, Al goes, no, you can't do it.
I had one, you know, when I close somebody's books, if there's an adjusting entry, I want to know why. That's the game. That's the game for me. So I did a home office, you know, the whole bit. It was a S corp. Closed it. She sends me her 1120, and her home office deduction is exactly $5,000 more than the books. And I had a schematic of the house, square footage. I mean, I had that thing just documented, you know. And I called the tax accountant, and he said, he said, off the record, the partner did it, and I don't sign the return.
Oh, okay.
So I called the client and I said, you know, this is the wife of a client, really, and of a big client, and I said, okay, my due diligence is, here's the scenario, and you've been notified, so that if you sign it, you know. He said, well, he says he'll defend me. I said, yeah, $400 an hour, he'll defend you. Yeah. And I said, here's the other thing. If an IRS auditor comes in and audits some returns for this one CPA and sees a pattern, they can go into the firm, subpoena all the returns. You know, if you're with a dud and he gets caught on another company, right? I mean, anyway.
Yeah.
You do the best you can, and you can't fix stupid.
No. A lot of them out there.
You know, that's the government's way of trying to regulate or try to solve a major problem. But like you said, they're not signing the returns. It's just going to make it more.
It's just going to make the good guys work harder.
Right. Right.
Well, they have this voluntary tax program now that replaced the RTTP.
Well, it's voluntary.
You know, the Loving case. You hear of the Loving case?
Yeah.
That threw out the original attempt for the IRS to regulate or make everybody a 230 circular, you know. So now it's voluntary.
Yeah, but our PIN number costs how much?
$63.
$63. And it used to be free. Well, when that first came out, boy, I am echoing. It's me. I'm just loud. Am I just loud? I'm just loud.
No.
When it first came out, I remember thinking, I don't do corporate returns or personal returns, but a 941 and a W-2 is considered a return.
Yep.
And the way it was written, I was going to have to go to school just like a regular tax preparer, and that's one of those common sense things where you go, that'll never fly. but you have to wait for it to not fall. Hey, I have a question.
Damn, Sarah.
I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to shut up. At the bottom of the 941, when you sign as the reporting agent, do you also sign it?
As the preparer?
Yeah. So you sign it
As
twice?
the reporting agent, you're allowed to talk to the IRS about the returns. I sign in both places.
I sign both.
I do too.
Be safe.
In case the IRS wants to come back, you get to talk to them.
Yeah, I can talk to them.
Well, that's the other area. That's the third, or the, what do you call it?
I don't sign the return as the owner. I sign as the preparer and the...
I sign it as a registered agent because I've got a 86555 on file.
Yeah, well, I sign the 941s that I, prepare as the preparer. But
Yeah.
I don't sign the returns, and I never send them off without, their... I don't sign them for them.
You send it to the client to sign?
I never send in a tax form. The client has to sign it.
Yeah. I used to do that until probably last year or the year before, when everything is required online now except for the 941.
Can you believe that? I mean,
So I'm looking at a 941 going, well, that's a pain in the, and postage or delivering the whole thing for one little form. So, I did the 8655. These are clients I've had for a long time, or I do the payroll, or I test the payroll. They're doing the right thing. So I have no liability, so I'll mail the 941. I will sign as a registered agent. It's the same thing as ADP. ADP's mailing them off, But
that's why I like
and then I put them up on ShareFile and I'm done.
I like the online payroll because I sign them up with that, and then I just click submit, return, done.
Right.
Piece of cake.
Right.
All the other ones, I'll sign the return, scan it in, and have them pull it down on like ShareFile.
Right. Now, if I've got a problem child, I'll do that. I'll either mail them the originals to sign. I'm not touching that. I'm not even going to get involved with that. But then usually they're not a client very long because I don't deal with.
Well, yeah, if you don't play by my rules, you don't stay my client because it's like I'm in charge here, not you.
Bingo.
That's right.
I mean, I know when I hear people on Facebook or other forums I'm in, they go, well, this client wants to do it this way. I'm like, not me.
Bye.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
I either you either use QBO or you're hosted. I don't log into computers. I don't take backups. I don't know. I'm a real meanie.
Well, you have to decide on what your model is and stick to it.
And they're either on board or they're not. If
Right.
they're not listening to you about those kind of things, they're not listening about anything, and they're not really you're not a trusted advisor, and they are not a trusted client. Works both ways.
I tell you, I had a client just signed her a month ago, and I said, your choice is QBO or desktop hosted on my Cloud9 server. She goes, no, I want to do it on my server. This was this is a $5,000 a month account.
Wow.
And I said, if you put it on your server, I'm not doing it.
On her terminal server?
I do not want I don't want to have all these different logins. She had an old server. I don't know. You log in. I didn't want to learn it. I didn't want to do it. I said, if you don't do it my way, you'll have to find someone else. And she goes, but I want you. Then you do it my way. And she did.
Right.
And my husband said, that would be a $5,000 a month account you'd walking away from. I said, this is how I work.
Right.
But you're saying it's a $5,000 a month client. It could be worth more than that to be rid of them just because more. And also, again, if they're not following what you're saying.
Well, what I found was she wanted to see if she wanted to save them because when you sign up for my Cloud9 server, I charge a $400 setup fee because that's what Cloud9 charges me to get you on board. And then I to get the license and the access.
Oh yeah, software and the whole thing.
Because I have a private server.
Yeah.
So I said because what I want is I don't want to pay that money and then the next month they drop off.
Right.
Yeah.
So I said,
You've
it
got
only costs-
upfront costs.
Yeah, for 400, and then I bundle in the month. So the next year I'll pay it because I up the fee to cover it. Does that make sense? So it's just so they have some kind of commitment with me. And she didn't want to pay that. I said, that's the deal. And because she wanted me to, and her server was like a 2000 and old.
Oh,
said,
deal with
"Well,
equipment.
It's so not worth that $5,000 a month. It's so worth it to let her find someone else.
Oh,
At that
she
point.
did. She does what I tell her now. What I find is if you tell them what you'll do or not, and you won't do anything else, they respect you and they follow you. And if they don't, see ya.
Dear Raymond came back, huh?
Now, you said you use Cloud9, Debbie?
Yes.
And do you are you happy with them? All right.
Love them.
Love it. Now, how does it run though? I mean, because I'm on a hosted environment as well, and I'm not too thrilled with the company. That I don't want to name names. But,
I'll name names. I was with InSync, hated them.
Yeah, I just dropped them.
And then I went to Unidata. They were okay.
Really? Because I was thinking, I don't know.
But then I went to Cloud9, and the reason I went to Cloud9 was, Doug Sleater, he's on Cloud9, and he vets everybody. I thought, well, if he likes it. Then I called my friend Stacy Byrne.
Yeah.
She's on Cloud9, and she complains about everything. I love Stacy, but boy, she likes to complain. So if she likes something, it's good.
They would help me.
Stacy comes on to Seth's Avo site for Facebook. I see her. They're all over making her comments and everything like that. She's interesting. And I met her. I think I met her also at QB Connect. So
he's great. I love Stacy.
And one of the things why I was asking you this is I noticed being on the hosted environment, like even doing a PDF, there's a lag time.
Not for mine, not Cloud9. In fact, I went to a client yesterday that's on my server, and she was logging in using the internet. And I said, log in during the RDP, and I changed it. And she goes, holy smokes, that's just a whole lot faster. I said, yeah, so you have to log in, she was logging in using the internet, which they said is slower. She didn't read my instructions.
If you have your own server, then you're not having all the security problems that they were having in the beginning. Because
I tell them what software I want on there, it's mine. I pay for it.
So it's like on your server? It's on your server?
No, it's their, it's my private server, meaning it's what I set up with them, meaning it's not a shared farm.
Right.
A shared farm is nice, but it's limited to what you can put on it, to only what they agree to put on it, because on a farm they flip you from server to server, so it has so mine is dedicated to me with the software I want, the access I want, and I've been using it since July, and I love it. I told my husband,
they were my favorite support people. They were my favorite, and I love the way how fast you could get documents up and down.
Oh yeah, I mean the copying alone. The other thing they do is you can use multiple monitors with it.
Right.
And it's easy.
Is it Rob or Richard Chandler? He's the owner, right?
Robert Chandler's the president, or
they're
the CEO.
He's
that chubby guy. He's real cute. You just want to pinch his cheeks. He's so cute.
Yeah, I remember meeting him with at Doug's what was it? The Road Show, and that's where I met Rob Chandler.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he used to be a CPA and realized that there was a need for this hosted environment set up for QuickBooks. And so he did a lot. He knows what it's like to be doing this kind of work and being
I'm very happy with Cloud9. There's not one thing that I have complained about. They get right back to me. They're responsive. I mean, now it's not cheap. I mean, I paid $4,500 for the setup. But when I figured if I had to buy my own server, calling a guy in here, I mean, I can call them in the middle of the night and they respond. Because I'm usually working at 2 in the morning. I mean, I wake up at 2 in the morning and start working. If you ever see my Facebook posts when they come in, it's usually at that time of day.
Yeah, you and me both.
It's so quiet then. Nobody's bothering me. I get so much done. By 9 o'clock when my staff arrives, I've already put in an 8-hour day.
See, I'm the opposite. They leave at 3. I start kicking in, and sometimes I'll just work. If I get on a roll, and it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. But I'm going to bed. I'm not up working.
I know. I start working at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then I even have my little time, my watch. I have one of those watches.
Mm-hmm.
Where can you see it? I'm covering the camera. See one of these things? It's set for 4 o'clock. It buzzes at 4 o'clock. Quitting time. I feel like Fred Flintstone when I go down the dinosaur. Woo!
And using your hosted, Deborah, you've been able to travel lots of places.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been on 7 cruises this year.
And nobody noticed.
I know. The only way you know is if you're my Facebook friend. I mean, I went to the NAN conference. I went to the Sleater conference. I have a condo in Marco. I can do my accounting anywhere. Love it.
I know. I go on Facebook and I'm like, where is she now?
I know, and with Bill.com, I was standing in line at SeaWorld playing bills. I went to SeaWorld the other day. I'll pay a couple of bills while I'm here. It's just, I love it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say you pay bills, do you pull the trigger to actually draft, or does only the owner's allowed to do that?
No, I do it. I mean, I listened to your hangout the other day where they said, "Oh no, you don't." I said,
They told me it had to be whoever's the signature on the card.
No.
Or the account.
Now, what I do, I never pay a bill without their approval.
That's
as long as you
what
have
the
that.
owner to do is approve, and then you
They have
can
to
pay
approve
when
the
you want
payment.
to.
And that protects you. Okay. Good, because I don't want to. Sometimes I don't want to. I mean,
I should try and get Bill.com on for a demo.
Oh,
I'm gonna set up my first one. That's what I was gonna do today. What happened?
Oh, we lost Deb again.
Yeah.
But at some point, people are asking you for a Smart Sheet demo.
Whoa.
I lost you for a second there. I told you I love Bill.com.
Well, I was gonna set up my first one today, but it's too much. I just get interrupted.
And it's the end of the day now.
Sarah, did it get real cold where you are?
Oh, look at my dog in her little sweater. She has a cheap fur coat. And I opened the door, and she stepped out and went. And that's a southern dog. The southern dog about had a coronary when she stepped out into 20-degree weather. And I'm like, I bought you a sweater, honey. Yeah, it's cold. It's really good. Cold.
It was cold in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually had to wear socks.
Deborah, what is this cold in Florida? What do you consider cold in Florida? Like, oh my God, 70 degrees today.
We had to wear 2 sweatshirts instead of
Oh
one.
my God.
Oh, wow.
You know what?
Well, that's what I said. This is what I wear when it gets cold in Florida. I had to wear this morning.
Long sleeve.
You know, it was below.
What is that?
It's a nice one of those infinity scarves. It's furry. I got it when I was on my Alaska cruise.
Wow, that's cute.
Oh, awesome.
So this morning when I was at garage sale,
Not on your shoulder.
You Florida and down south people need to shush.
I mean, when we were sitting in our hot tub, we could see the steam rising. It was that cold.
I don't like getting the hot tub. I don't like the hot tub.
Y'all are cracking me up right now. Just cracking me up, please.
It was chilly running from their house to the hot tub when you don't have any clothes on, I tell you that.
If you're nice
Now
and
the
hot,
story's being told.
if you're nice and hot and you end up out of the hot tub, you don't feel it. It's if you don't walk fast enough back to the house, and then you get about 2 feet from the door, and all of a sudden your body goes, "Holy crap, I'm naked."
I couldn't use my outside shower for the past few days. I had a shower inside.
You know what? You know what? If Nancy was here, Nancy would just shut y'all down.
We can Nancy would.
Retired.
That's because Nancy is frozen solid right now.
No kidding. 'Cause
Yeah, she's in what, Vermont? Poor Nancy.
yeah, she's in Vermont.
Yeah, northern edge of Vermont.
I can't imagine what it's like in Vermont. We had sub-zero weather here in Long Island.
Yeah, we got hit hard too. We had they canceled school or had delays. It was
Yeah.
it was the air temperature in some locations was 1 or 0, and the wind chill was about 18 to 25 below.
I know.
That's what we
Where are
were
you,
getting. We
Nisha?
got the 22 below wind chill.
The wind chill was negative 35.
Wow. And I thought it was cold here. We're freezing for Northern California. It's cold.
Before asking Christina, what's the problem with the server?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
I can't. My QuickBooks won't work on the server, and I think it said something about it's not working with XP. So I need.
XP is not serviced anymore. You need to upgrade your server.
Yeah, you can't go Windows XP.
Oh, hold on, wait a minute. I need to upgrade it to the Windows 7.
Yeah.
Which
At
I,
minimum, and then you may even have to run the file repair tool to make
Yeah.
sure your ports are open. I've heard a lot of people having that problem lately.
They've been putting XP is going out of, you need to get rid of it for like a year now. And the date,
I was using it until I couldn't use it anymore.
Yeah.
So I can't do my multi-user mode. So what do I have to run after I do that? File what?
Box.
What you said again, Gina?
Qbox.
QBox.
Qbox. I thought I had your email. I was gonna send you a link, but I don't have your email right now.
Qbox for my company file?
Just give her your secret code.
Huh?
What's your number? What's your number?
37.
I'm 39. I can remember that because I want to stay 39.
Now, are you AS? Are you is it all spelled out for you, or did they shorten yours? Is
Where do we
it?
get the number?
Filled out.
Because mine is the Paris Company dash.
But all you
37.
need is the two-digit number if they.
The 2-digit number. I'm
So
30.
We get brownie points if we recommend it.
Yeah.
So what does Qbox have to do with my company?
It's a way of sharing your files.
Yeah. If you're managing folks' QuickBooks file, it's you can go in and sync it and save all your edits and everything live.
So they can install their QuickBooks and it's working on their computer. It's the multi-user that's messing up.
Yeah, just for me, in-house.
Yeah, then Qbox would probably be a good thing.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have to work the same time they work.
Because the thing is, I was just gonna do it tonight. I was gonna update the XP, to 7 when everybody's out of the server. Because they, they're still using those server files.
Well,
'Cause
wait
I
a minute, wait a minute. When you say server, is it a true server or a workstation that...
It's a computer. It's not a workstation. Nobody uses it. Well, I guess maybe whatever you want to call it. But it's just a computer. Nobody uses it. And I upgraded the hard drive and the memory and all that other stuff.
It's holding data files so that people can... Okay, yeah.
To share. So it's an XP. And it works great, fine, fabulous. So I was going to use it till I couldn't use it anymore. So I did purchase a Windows 7. And I'm going to put it on there.
Wouldn't it be cheaper just to go get a cheap
Server?
station? No, it's
Well,
not.
it's a
That's not a server.
No, that's not.
computer.
It's just an extra computer that they're using as a server, as a storage, and they're probably all mapped to it so that
It's a file server.
a peer-to-peer network, not a.
Basic. Because we do have we're on Exchange, but it's through my domain, so
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
do.
because you would actually have to run server software on that computer if it was a true server.
Yeah, and then you'd need one of these. Right here.
Yeah, and then you need an IT guy, but I know your IT guy kind of, you know.
Then my IT guy fell out.
You
So
should just buy a new computer like Sarah.
You can buy
You could buy one under $300.
Yeah.
I
Couple, by
could,
the time you buy everything and your labor and all that, yeah.
That's why I went hosted. I didn't want to bother with all that. Let
Oh,
them
I'm
do it.
so sick of dealing with people's computers and my own computer. Sometimes I just. Me too. My IT hub is. I'm sick of computers.
I can access. You can use a Mac. I can use an XP machine. I can anything.
Yep.
I didn't want to deal with
That's
any of
right.
that hardware stuff.
There you
Oh,
go.
look what time it is.
I know, we're overtime, and your husband is waiting for you, Sarah,
Right, come on now.
No, he was.
with his hands folded.
He's hanging out.
it's dinner time.
He needs to find out what I want for dinner.
Yep, it's dinner time.
Well, it is time to end.
It
So we're
is.
going to stop here now. We'll see you all next week. Have a great weekend.
Maybe we'll talk about smart sheets next week. I don't know if you don't have a topic.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.